Village Board regular meeting of February 17, 2025. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Balmas.
Present.
Thorstenson.
Here.
Woodside. Ross.
Here.
5 present, 1 absent.
If you'll all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. First item on the agenda is approval of consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
5 aye.
Pat.
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the February 3rd, 2025 meeting. Item number 2, approval of ordinance 2025-04, accepting the final plat of Aga pre-subdivision property located at 4060 Red Court. Item number 3, approval of ordinance 2025-05, reallocating 2025 volume cap to the Village of Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Item number 4, approval of information system division recommendation to purchase 9 Semtex XR90 routers associated equipment and extended maintenance coverage from CDS Office Technologies at a cost of $33,020. Item number 5, approval of payroll for February 7, 2025 in the amount of $1,006,456.01. Item number 6, approval of bills for period ending February 27, 2025 in the amount of $2,031,155.58.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Ross. Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
5 aye.
Motion carries. There's no petitions and communications, no reports, no old business. On to new business. First item, approval of ordinance 2025-06, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for participation in the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network Program, IPWMAN. Pat?
Sure. So this is an organization that we are currently a member of, previously a member of, joined back in 2009. It is a statewide mutual aid system that's available to all public works agencies. It's designed to provide mutual aid and support during natural or man-made disasters by coordinating personnel resources when needed. Composed of hundreds of member agencies across the state that are committed to working together in a time of need. Most of the responses or requests for assistance for this organization have been related to storm cleanup, whether a tornado or winds going through, requesting chippers, trucks, generators, things like that. As I said, we became a member back in 2009. They recently went through, updated the agreement as well as the bylaws. I listed out there those 4 bullet points, the main changes in the agreement. Really, I'd say more cleanup items than having any substance. Public Works Director Glan, Attorney Winter, myself all looked at it. Didn't have any concerns with the changes. Again, by belonging to this, it doesn't commit you to anything, doesn't commit you to responding if there's a request for assistance. You're basically just on a list, and if request for assistance is put out in your area, or if it's a larger request, they will reach out to you. It's up to you whether you're available to respond or not. So again, doesn't commit us to anything as far as resources or finances, but good to have in place. Should be available or something like that, call upon this. The updated agreement is before you consider it.
Is there a motion to approve?
To approve.
Motion by Trustee Garner, second by Trustee Balmas. Any discussion? Trustee?
I'm going to put the question this way, but I don't know who's going to really answer it. So how does this mutual aid network differ from the one, I'm looking to maybe Chief K, but the one that we know when there's an incident that's, what is MABUS? That's the name of it. Just took me a minute to get it.
So MABUS is fire specific. If there's an emergency, that would be the fire department would go, Public Works created a model off the same procedures, and I'll let Heather kind of go into
Yeah,
that.
so, like Pat was saying, if there's an incident, so when we had the windstorms come through, and there was more than just our agency that needed assistance, people from around the area would reach out, and we get emails and text alerts and whatnot that needs a Public Works assistance. So it's specific to Public Works folks, it's specific to our trucks, our capabilities, so not where we overlap.
And there are box alarms within ours where we actually, our Public Works is on a few of our trench alarms. We actually contact and have them come out and do emergencies as well. This is above and beyond this. This is more recovery, or even if we need chainsaws, we know we could reach out to that group. But the initial responses through MABUS are specific fire department to fire department, where this is Public Works to Public Works.
Thank you, very helpful, appreciate it.
Thanks, Karen. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Motion carries. Item number 2 is withdrawn. And on to item number 3, approval of Police Department recommendation to waive the formal bidding process and award the Police Department Access Control System Upgrade Project to Securitas Technology at the cost of $325,906.70. Pat?
My Deputy Police Chief, Jeremy Gahn on this. He's in attendance tonight, and then also our Information Systems Director, Ryan Nelson, if there's technical questions. So this is something that has been in the works for a while on the Police Department's schedule for a while here. Included in this year's budget was funding to start the replacement of the door access control system at the Police Department. So the Police Department is over 20 years old at this point, and some of those components have reached the end of the life, no longer supported by the manufacturer, or don't meet the needs of the department with us moving to consolidation. So there's some additional control access that needs to be installed, programmed into the system with the consolidation. Securitas was the original manufacturer of the equipment that's in the building. Worked with them over the past 20 years to maintain that equipment, so they're very familiar with what's in place, how our building's laid out, et cetera. Some of the equipment that's currently there, they will be able to reuse some of that. Other equipment, they won't be able to, have to install new. One of the reasons for upgrading the system now avoids the risk of some of the PLCs. If they failed, it would leave the system completely inoperable and would prevent installing the new access components that we would need when the system reaches end of life. So Police Department has been working with Securitas, with the Information Systems Division, and then Dave Henderson from J.J. Henderson to scope out the project, get estimates together. The total project's estimated at around $400,000. So what is before you tonight is the proposal from Securitas. It was broken down into the equipment that's needed is about $170,000, and then the remaining is installation, et cetera. So what the police department would like to do at this point, this year's budget had $150,000 in it. They've got some savings and some other capital line items to make up that other 20. What they would do is purchase all the equipment needed for this project in this fiscal year, and then in the proposed budget for next fiscal year, they've included the remainder of the funding. So the 325 is the Securitas portion. There's going to be electrical work, some building improvement, paint, et cetera. So that'll be coming through separately once those that work's bid out and we review proposals, then make a recommendation. Looking to waive the formal bidding process, like I said, because of Securitas's knowledge of the building and the relationship that we have built over the years. We don't think going to a different manufacturer of the equipment will yield any significant savings, so the staff recommendation was to continue with them. Jeremy's taking the lead on the project. Like I said, Information Systems Director Nelson has been heavily involved as well, and again, working with J.J. Henderson from the building and installation aspect. So that's where we are, looking for approval for the whole 325 for Securitas, knowing that just $170,000 will be spent this fiscal year with the remaining next fiscal year.
All right, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Thorstenson. Any discussion to my left? To my right? Roll call, please.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas.
Aye.
Thorstenson.
Yes.
Ross.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Motion carries. On to the last item, public comment. If anybody would like to make a public comment, you could step up to the microphone and state your name.
Good evening, Keith Owens, 6464 Doral Drive, or you probably know me as the Energizer Bunny. I keep banging this drum. Here today to talk about the public comment. Reading from the village's mission statement, one of the missions is to engage our residents, businesses, and visitors in an ongoing dialogue about their ideas, needs, and concerns. With the issue of having only public comment at the end of the meeting, my concern, ongoing concern, is when items come up during the meeting, whether it's in the consent agenda or other items, they're not by ordinance or by rule allowed. I recognize that the chair has been very liberal in allowing people to speak, and that is appreciated, but a lack of formalization of that could present a problem in the future, and I think if the lack of having that on the agenda may serve to discourage some people thinking that they're not allowed to speak until after the agenda items are over. It was opined to me earlier that sometimes people are just going to use public comment to complain. And I've looked at a lot of meeting videos. I don't see a lot of people there to begin with. And if people do complain, I'm not aware that the courts have cut out a section of the free speech part of the Constitution to eliminate complaining. So what I would say is, while some people might view what other people might be doing at this microphone as complaining, I think based on your mission statements that you're probably listening to their concerns. So what I did was, after the last meeting, finding out that nobody has seemed to take any action on this, not that there hasn't been conversation or concern, but no action has been taken, I went ahead and looked at 20 neighboring towns and villages. I basically just took my Google Maps and expanded it out from my address, and whatever 20 towns popped up in Lake County, I went online and I looked at their ordinances, I looked at their agendas, and I looked at their meeting videos. And this is what I found. Lake Forest provides the opportunity for citizens to address the City Council after the mayor's and city manager's report on the agenda, but before council actions or votes. Zions allows citizens' comments prior to the consent agenda and other business. Lake Zurich has public comment at the beginning of the meeting on any topic, 30 minutes total time allowed with 5 minutes per speaker limit, and that's specified by ordinance. Park City, after their roll call, is open to the public for a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, and it's specified on the agenda but not by ordinance. Deerfield allows for speaking after the minutes and the bills and payroll have been dealt with. On non-agenda items, public comment on agenda items are recognized by the chair. There is no ordinance for this particular activity. It's based on the way the meetings are run based on the video that I looked at. Fox Lake has a preliminary audience comments on agenda items only before any agenda items, and then audience comments at the end, and this is established by ordinance. Highland Park allows people to speak for up to 3 minutes on agenda items as they come up during the meeting, and any other public comments at the end. Antioch allows public comments about non-agenda items at the beginning of the meeting, and public comments allowed during the meeting about agenda items, and this is outlined in ordinance and at the beginning of their meetings. Libertyville has preliminary comments about items not on the agenda, but also on it, as a matter of fact, at the beginning of the meeting for a 3-minute limit, and also public comments allowed as agenda items come up, per the agenda, and comments during the videos that I watched. Buffalo Grove has the agenda indicates public comments at the end of the meeting, but their ordinance allows for public comments for 5 minutes per person during discussion of agenda items. Lake Villa has a roll call pledge and then public comments on their agenda. Ordinance defines when it is allowed on the agenda. Round Lake, after approval of minutes, there's notes, communication, and public comment up to 30 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker, and it's defined by ordinance. Waukegan has audience time only before the consent agenda for up to 45 minutes, but it can be extended. And it limits 3 minutes per speaker. I have a copy of that ordinance, and I'll be giving it to the chair at the end of this presentation. North Chicago allows public comments after omnibus consent items, but before the regular agenda, 3 minutes per speaker and 30 minutes total defined by ordinance. Vernon Hills, citizens wishing to address the board is how they put it on their agenda after roll call and the pledge. Asked to try to keep it to 3 minutes per person. I have a copy of their ordinance. Mundelein, public comment after roll call and the pledge. Minutes are approved, but before any other agenda items. 5 minutes per person, per meeting, per ordinance, and included on their agenda as well. Northbrook, public comment time at the beginning of the meetings on non-agenda items and on agenda items as they come up. I have a copy of this ordinance, and I'd just like to read one quick part of it here, if you will indulge me. This agenda item is reserved for members of the public who desire to address the village on topics that's within the purview and jurisdiction of the village board, but that is not listed on any other location on the agenda. This is early public comment. If you wish to speak about a matter that is listed on the agenda, we ask that you wait until that agenda item is called, and then we will give you an opportunity to speak then. If your matter is on the consent agenda, please let us know if you would like us to remove that matter so that you can speak about it. Grace Lake, after the pledge and the roll call, there's public comments on agenda items per their published agenda, and also public comments on items of general interest at the end of the meeting. This is not an ordinance, this is just the way they run their meetings. Wakanda has public comments on any topic at the beginning of the meeting, and as specific agenda items come up, and you have to provide a notification in writing to them, to the chair, before you can speak. I have a copy of that ordinance as well. And then Glenview, you can speak at any of the items on the agenda other than the consent agenda as items come up by submitting a card to the clerk. Non-agenda item comments are at the end of the meeting. They also have a first and second consideration items for their ordinances, both new and old business, except for items on the consent agenda. This is what I spoke to earlier about having a first and second reading so the public has an opportunity to hear what your discussion is and also provide input before votes are taken. Now, I understand that I'm not proposing an ordinance. What I'm proposing is hopefully this organization will find it reasonable to put on the agenda at some future meeting, hopefully in the near future, discussion about a possible resolution that would direct the village attorney and maybe village staff to at least take a look at some of these things and come back with some recommendations. It's all over the place. So you can talk about items before and during, some only before, some during. And I'm not saying which is the best way to do it, but you know, for a village that takes pride in being one of the few that has no property tax, no utility tax, and soon to have no debt, we can have pride in that. But to be one of the few villages, 1 in 21, that has no public comment before any of the items on the agenda, regardless of how lenient the chair may be in allowing that comment, I think it prohibits people from thinking that they have an opportunity to do that. And if they only use that opportunity to complain, I would say they're using that opportunity to express their concerns, which, as I read on the mission statement, is something that's important to you. Now, I understand things come onto the agenda either by a trustee proposing it and then the mayor approving the agenda, or the mayor putting it on the agenda, or perhaps 3 trustees could put things on the agenda. I understand if 3 trustees approach Pat and ask to have something on the agenda, it can go on the agenda without the mayor's approval. So I submit for your consideration that even though myself and maybe 3 other people are here other than being related to somebody on the board or being staff, it doesn't mean the public shouldn't have that opportunity to speak where it's allowed by every other village in the area. There's 52 villages and municipalities in Lake County. I only looked at 20, and I didn't cherry pick them, you can believe me or not. But I'll be happy to go back and take another look at the other 31 and to see where we stand on this matter with them. As always, I thank you for your time and service, and I'll bring this up to the chair.
Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment during public comment? If so, please state your name.
Jory Stuckwish, Belle Plaine Avenue. Good evening. I would like to start by thanking the board and the other village departments that have recently come together to address the concerns of Gurnee residents for issues on the eastern side of Gurnee. The East Gurnee Community Group and the East Side Commission are also grateful for the Gurnee Police Department and Detective Gaylor's help in holding neighborhood watch meetings. It's been really gratifying to see so many residents continue to be involved in these meetings and involved in the ongoing efforts to revitalize the East Gurnee area. I think that many new businesses coming to the East Grand Avenue exemplifies the changes that are being made there, and we all know this truly benefits all of Gurnee. Additionally, I would like to make a brief statement in agreement with Keith Owen's request that the village board consider moving public comment to the beginning of board meetings and before voting on agenda items occurs. We've experienced several recent items of public interest in which having public comment at the end of board meetings and after the board has voted on the agenda items has caused much frustration and confusion for Gurnee residents. Most Gurnee residents don't even realize that this is the policy until it directly affects them, and it might be too late. The Gurnee Village Board agenda is typically posted a few days before the meeting. I think 48 hours is the state minimum. The current structure of Gurnee Village Board meetings that only allows for public comment after the board has already voted on agenda items essentially strips residents of their opportunity to speak in favor of or against village issues and forces us instead to rely on happenstance, in which we would need to learn of an agenda item weeks in advance in order to make public comment at a preceding meeting before a vote occurs. In addition to the Lake County areas already mentioned, it appears that the following boards also allow for public comment at or near the beginning of board meetings and before voting or approval on agenda items occur. Warren Township High School District 121, Gurnee School District D56, Woodland School District 50, and the Gurnee Park District. We appreciate the board's consideration in this matter and hope to see this change in meeting structure enacted in the near future. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to make a comment? Being none, is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion by trustee Baumus, second by trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye. 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 We're adjourned.